Thank you. We have some time for questions. We'll start with Slovenian Public Radio and TV. Over to you.
Yeah, hi, Secretary General Igor Juric, Slovenian National Television and Radio. You already mentioned some things about this last 20 years since Slovenia joined NATO with 6 other countries. Maybe could you elaborate a little bit more what Slovenia brought and all the other countries also to NATO in these last 20 years? And also the question, how do you see the fact that Slovenia is still far away from the 2% of GDP for defense expenditures? And the question for the Prime Minister, when will Slovenia reach this goal of 2% of the GDP? And maybe the last question for you also, Prime Minister, why it took so much time for you, or actually 2 years, to come to visit NATO for the first time during your mandate?
Slovenia has been highly valued and important NATO ally now for 2 decades, and we continue to appreciate very much the contributions that Slovenia is making to our collective defense, to our shared security. The fact that Slovenia contributes to NATO's battle groups, both in Slovakia and in Latvia, demonstrates that Slovenia is not only an ally that addresses the challenges in the immediate neighborhood, but also look at the broader picture. Then it is, of course, important what Slovenia has done and continues to do related to how to ensure stability in the Western Balkans, both in Bosnia and Herzegovina, but also in Kosovo. And Slovenia has for many years contributed forces to our peacekeeping mission in Kosovo. And I welcome the announcement from Prime Minister Golob to be ready to further increase the Slovenian contributions to our KFOR mission. These are important examples of how Slovenia is actually making a difference. Then, of course, now, when Slovenia is a member of the UN Security Council, Slovenia plays an even more important role, because when Slovenia speaks, we listen to them in NATO, but actually Slovenia is also now a voice inside the UN Security Council. I also believe that Slovenia has played an important role just by demonstrating back then, 20 years ago, that NATO's door is open. It was not obvious after the end of the Cold War that NATO was going to enlarge. But when the Cold War ended back in the beginning of the 1990s, we were 16 members of the alliance. Today, with Slovenia and many others, we are 32, twice that many. And Slovenia has been part of this big success story of NATO enlargement, enlargement of NATO, enlargement of the European Union, demonstrating that we actually are able to work together. It has helped to spread democracy and stability and freedom across Europe, and Slovenia has been an important part of that big development. So we are extremely grateful to have Slovenia as a staunch ally. I appreciate to work with Prime Minister Golob, and maybe this is his first time at NATO headquarters, but we have met several times at different occasions, and we have met at the NATO summits, so it's not the first time we both participate together in NATO meetings, but the first time here at the NATO headquarters. Then just briefly, I've been Prime Minister for 10 years. I understand that it's hard to find more money for defense, because there are so many other demands on education, on infrastructure, on health, and many other things. But allies reduced defense spending when tensions went down after the end of the Cold War. Then we have to be able to increase defense spending when tensions are going up, as they are now with a full-fledged war in Europe. And I welcome the fact that Slovenia has started to increase defense spending, and I welcome also the commitment to be at 2%. So, of course, the sooner the better, but we welcome increase and we welcome the commitment.
At the moment, our commitment to get to 2% is planned for the 20 and 30. That may change in the future, but that's what it is at the moment. But the fact is that in the last 3 years, we increased by 70% our investment in military equipment. And I think that really shows our total readiness to fulfill our commitments. Because it's not just about spending more money, it's about where do we spend it for, and we do invest in military equipment. And all of that is, of course, in the line of capability building within our NATO commitments as well. Regarding our meetings, as Secretary General already said, there were many occasions before, so coming here, it's symbolic in a way, but nevertheless, it's just one of the meetings that we've had in the past. And I'm pretty sure that not the most important, but it's the most visible, yes.
Thank you. We'll go over to Peter from Delo, if that's okay, Slovenian National Daily Newspaper.
Yes, hi, thank you. Peter Žavić, Slovenian Daily Newspaper. Secretary General, Mr. Prime Minister, the NATO annual report last week has shown that the public support for the alliance in Slovenia is very low. Besides the Montenegro, that is a special case, is the lowest. Where do you see a reason for this? And also public support for defense spending is also very low, among the lowest. Don't you think that such a situation in the public could hinder planned defense spending in Slovenia?
Was that to me or to him? Or to, yeah. Okay. Well, also, I don't have the numbers in front of me in the annual report, but of course it varies, the support for NATO. But in all allies, including in Slovenia, there is a big majority for NATO. There is a big majority for increased defense spending. And especially if you take into account that the way we present the numbers there, it's support for NATO, then it's the undecided, and then those who are against. And if you just compare those who are in favor against those who are against, there's a majority, a clear majority also in Slovenia. Of course, I would like to see it even greater. That's obvious. But the reality is that we are 32 democracies. We have open discussions, we have open debates, and there will always be different opinions. That's part of being democracies. But Slovenia and NATO allies have demonstrated again and again that despite some differences, some disagreements, we have always been able to unite around our core task to protect and defend each other, to invest more when necessary, and that's exactly what Slovenia is doing.
I believe that the support is still quite strong. All the polls are relative in a way. To make a light joke out of it, when our government is going to get that much support, we'll be really happy about that. So I would not want to put too much emphasis on that. There are many reasons why the support could be oscillating. Absolutely the spillover of the propaganda from other Western Balkans countries, but also out of Russia, it doesn't help to strengthen the support within Slovenia. But nevertheless, as I said, the government is committed, and I think the support among the population is still strong enough not to be worried about that. When it comes to defense spending, it's not about we being able or being committed to spend, it's more about what we are capable of doing. And as we are all aware, last year we had really devastating floods, which we immediately informed not just our EU friends, but also our NATO allies. We were grateful to NATO to put some equipment immediately on the ground to assist in the floods relief first, and also we informed NATO that we will have to revise in the medium term our plans for the military spending, and that was also accepted with understanding.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We'll have one final question for the Slovenian press agency. Over to you, Blas.
Thank you, Blaž Mohorčič from the Slovenian press agency. It's quite a follow-up to the colleague's question for the Secretary General on the spending. On this, could you please elaborate how do you assess this plan to increase only until 2030? Because since last summit, the 2% is floor and not the ceiling anymore. And for the Prime Minister, could you please elaborate a bit on your remarks that Slovenia will increase the number of soldiers on Kosovo in KFOR? What are the concrete plans? And also, do you support Mr. Rutte for the next Secretary General? Thank you.
We made a pledge back in 2014 to move towards spending 2% of GDP on defense. Since then, all allies, also Slovenia, have started to increase defense spending. And as the Prime Minister just referred to, there has been, over the last years, a significant increase in Slovenia when it comes to more investments in defense, which is, of course, in key importance to acquire new defense capabilities. Then, of course, I would like to see Slovenia at 2% as soon as possible. I welcome the increase we have seen, and I welcome that there is a plan to be at 2%, and I hope it will be possible to push that plan forward. Because we live in a more dangerous world, and therefore we need to invest more in our collective defense.
Regarding the first question, there are no concrete steps being decided yet, but what we expressed today is our willingness to contribute more, especially when it comes to the stability of the Western Balkans region. KFOR is just, I would say, the most important and successful story of cooperation within the NATO itself regarding how to stabilize the region. And Slovenia in the past has a very important role. Then throughout the years we somehow reduced our contribution, but we are willing to do more if the need arises. And as it looks, yes, that may be the case in the next months, but it's something to be still discussed and decided upon. When it comes to the new Secretary General, the fact is that a month ago, approximately, we expressed our support for Mark Rutte. The fact is that at that time, Mr. Rutte was the only candidate, so obviously we had no qualms about expressing support. Just a couple of weeks ago, then, Klaus Johannes also presented his candidacy. We took it very seriously, especially some of his points regarding the regionality of the positions and so forth. We are still looking into it, meaning that now since there are two candidates, we will take both seriously. We are not saying that we are revising our decision yet, but we are looking into the both. At the end of the day, it will have to be unanimous, the decision. And of course, Slovenia will do its best to promote the candidate who will get most votes as well. At the moment, that looks to be Mark Rutte, but I would say we will have to wait for a couple of more weeks in order to be decisive on that.
Thank you, Secretary General. Thank you, Prime Minister. That's it for today. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.